since Trump came into office. He bombards us with ridiculous policies. We go crazy trying to keep up with them, and before we can catch our breath, he hits us with something else even more absurd. It is exhausting and unsustainable. So, starting today, no more of that, okay? No more. No more. A whole script here full of important issues that I want to talk about. And I'm not going to let Donald Trump distract me with some crazy new idea.
This morning, a stunning proposal from an American president. Donald Trump with the Israeli prime minister by his side, declaring that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip. We'll own it.
Okay, let me just ask, what? And also, what?
President Trump made a surprising suggestion last night during a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The United States, he said, should take over the war-torn Gaza Strip and redevelop it into something like a seaside resort.
We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East.
What the f***? Trump is going to turn Gaza into the Riviera? He couldn't even turn Atlantic City into a nicer Atlantic City. Crazy. If anything, they tore down so many of his casinos, he turned Atlantic City into Gaza. But okay, he wants to rebuild it, and he wants to turn it into Mar-a-Lago. At least the Palestinians will have a place to go back to.
Donald Trump calling for the permanent resettlement of roughly 2 million Palestinians.
I don't think people should be going back to Gaza. I think that Gaza has been very unlucky for them.
And he says he's willing to use the U.S. military to do it.
We'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that.
Just so I'm clear, your idea is to take over Gaza, rebuild it into Mar-a-Lago, and make sure that the Palestinians who live there can't go back? That is the craziest thing he said since yesterday and until tomorrow. Even his chief of staff was shocked. Look at her face. She looks just like she won Best Country Album at the Grammys. Of course she's shocked. He's effectively advocating for ethnic cleansing. Who could possibly be okay with that?
You see things others refuse to see. You say things others refuse to say. And after the jaws drop, people scratch their heads and they say, you know, he's right.
No, they usually scratch their heads and they say, what the f*** are you talking about? Of course, Bibi is ecstatic at Trump's idea. Look at him. He looks happier than a teenager getting a hand job in the back of a birthright bus. But Bibi aside, this proposal is giving a lot of people whiplash. Trump ran his whole campaign on America first, and now he's out there chanting from the Riviera to the sea. Even Trump's Republican allies aren't on board, although, of course, they have to let him down easy.
We're trying to get the details of it. It was a surprising development.
Senator Josh Hawley says, quote, I don't know that I think it's the best use of U.S. resources to spend a bunch of money in Gaza.
We also heard from Senator Lindsey Graham. I think most South Carolinians would probably not be excited about sending Americans to take over Gaza. I think that might be problematic.
Tom Tillis likely with the quote of the night, which was, there are probably a couple kinks in that slinky.
There's a couple kinks in that slinky. That's how desperate these guys are to not openly disagree with Trump. They're just making up sayings now. Of course, some of his supporters, like Steve Doocy, are trying to give Trump the benefit of the doubt.
It was a jaw-dropper last night. The cover of the New York Post is, "We'll take over Gaza." I think this is just the tipping, this is the conversation starter. Because obviously, the president knows when he says, "We'll take Gaza." He knows the United States can't invade another country.
Of course, America would never invade another country. You can read all about it in Steve Doocy's American history book, Me Just Got Lobotomy by Steve Doocy. So to summarize, MAGA people think this is dicey. Their eyeballs think it's batshit crazy. And the entire plan is DOA unless Trump can do some real outreach to the countries in the Middle East. And based on his response to reporters from Afghanistan, I don't think he has the skills to do it.
I'm from Afghanistan. My name is Ms. Desi Lydic. As our expectation from you. Do you have any plan to change Afghanistan situation?
I have a little hard time understanding you. Where are you from? Oh. Actually, it's a beautiful voice and a beautiful accent. The only problem is I can't understand a word you're saying. But I just say this, good luck. Live in peace.
Good luck, live in peace? Why does he sound like he's saying goodbye to E.T.? The people of Earth wish you peace. May your slinky have no kinks. For more on Trump and Gaza, let's go live to the White House with Jordan Klepper. Jordan, is there something I'm missing? This plan just seems crazy.
Yeah, maybe it's not crazy. Maybe it's so good it sounds crazy, Desi. Maybe it's time to think outside the box. They say it's better to beg for forgiveness than to ask for permission. But what if we did neither, That's outside the box thinking.
Okay, but what's being proposed is a war crime. Have you considered that?
I'm desperately trying not to, Desi. I'd rather not contemplate American culpability here, so let's just think of this as the brainstorming phase. No bad ideas.
How about a two-state solution?
Bad idea, okay? Come on, Desi. Let's be serious here. You don't want to drive the Palestinians out? Fine. We'll drive them up. Put the entire Gaza Strip on 10-foot stilts, create a bunk bed situation. Palestinians on top, singing lullabies to the Israelis below, Who says no to the top bunk? No one.
But the framework for a two-state solution already exists. There's no need for displacement.
Don't think of it as displacement, especially if you're a prosecutor at The Hague. Instead, how about this? Let's get some cruise ships and the Palestinians can explore the world. After a few years, they can come back refreshed with one of those little Jamaican hair braids, maybe a weird French accent whenever they say croissant, Calling elevators lifts, all that bullshit.
Okay, but then they go back to live in Gaza?
No, then they get right back on the boat, Another trip around the world, hair braids for all.
What was so wrong with the two-state solution idea?
Come on, Desi. If that idea existed the whole time, then what's happening right now would make us the bad guys. So let's just keep spitballing, okay? Here's one. We take every Israeli and Palestinian and surgically swap their faces. Now they don't know who's who, Are you my wife or my neighbor? I can't tell. Guess we'll have to live in peace.
Are you pitching Face Off for the Middle East?
Okay. Do you have a better idea from a Nick Cage movie that doesn't make us complicit in war crimes?
Well, I guess we could get the Palestinians to fall in love with Cher. No, okay. You're dragging me into this.
Look,
no.
I don't know what else to do, Desi. Maybe AI is the solution.
How would AI be the solution?
That's the first thing we'll ask AI.
Okay. No, that's it. Brainstorming is over. These are all stupid. And like it or not, bulldozing Gaza and kicking out everyone there is not a real solution. It's cruel. It doesn't make us safer, and it will undeniably make us look like the villains of history.
You know what, Desi? You might be right, but hear me out. What if Palestinians stole the Declaration of Independence?
Oh, my God. Get the out of here. Jordan Klepper, everyone.